Hello guys, and welcome back to Doja Gaming. Right, sebelum kita sambung game Our Life Beginning and Always ni, aku nak minta tolong korang lah. So siapa-siapa yang belum check it out video-video sebelum ni, part 1 dan part 2, aku nak korang check it out dulu sebelum korang terlepas apa yang dah terjadi sebelum ni. Sebelum kita sambung momen kita untuk step 1 ni, aku harap korang boleh check it out video part 1 and part 2. Alright. Okay, and satu lagi, sebelum kita start juga, aku harap korang semua boleh tunjuk sikit support dengan subscribe and share aku punya gaming channel yang tak seberapa ni. Hopefully korang boleh bagi komen, korang boleh suggest macam mana aku nak improvekan lagi aku punya channel ni. Since aku punya channel pun baru je lagi, so aku tak expect banyak. So kita start dengan game-game yang simple dulu lah sebelum kita pergi ke game-game yang lebih menarik, tertarik dan kau memang the bomb lah lepas ni. Tapi aku tak nak menjanjikan bulan dan bintang lah. So aku harap korang boleh stay dan support aku untuk channel ni lah. Alright, tak buang-buang masa lagi. Hari ni kita akan sambung momen untuk step 1, momen yang ketiga, which is aku nak sambung long day. Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's go. Okay, untuk recap sikit lah, recap sebelum masuk ke long day ni. Untuk part 2 kita dah momen yang pergi shopping dengan grown up lah. So hari ni kita akan continue. Alright. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling up again. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since cough had arrived. Sorry guys, aku kalau baca orang putih ni macam aku tak tahulah. Sebenarnya aku okey je, tapi aku tak tahulah. Tak apalah, sambung. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh look at you for all the answer. It made you feel aku tak rasa apa-apa. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't bothered, but he also wasn't that much fun. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craft something icy cool and refreshing, something sweet, something like popsicle. Aku suka popsicle. Popsicle sedap weh yang baru tu. Alright, you wanted something fruity and brightly coloured. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Bagus, benda-benda ni semua boleh buat korang kencing manis. Outside there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but they were shopped and demanded payment in exchange for their products. Of course lah. Aku nak minta tolong lah, sebab budak kecil kot, mana ada duit. So aku minta Shiloh duit sikit. Shiloh, do you have any money? Oh, let me check. That was easy. You felt like you should tell him why you were asking. Thanks, I want a popsicle, but my moms don't keep any here. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coin plus one stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coin in neat piles, just over $1. You announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. Tak cukup babe, I'm sorry. We need to find some more. Okay. The two of you lift couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevice in the sofa and under furniture that scoured the back of drawers. Weh, ni perkara biasa weh. Dulu aku kecil-kecil pun, bila aku nak keluar beli aiskrim ke apa, bila tak cukup duit kan, sama ada aku tak angkat sofa ataupun aku rembat kat tabung mak aku. Tapi aku sarankan korang janganlah buat macam tu. Benda tu tak elok. Kalau nak, minta. Okay. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Yes, itu pun benda yang aku aku alami lah masa kecil dulu. Band paperclip, fluffy whips of dust or sandy crumbs, but every so often one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the grounding pile of coin. Dusty and alah susah lah nak sebut benda ni. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook. The two of you finish pulling your find. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 button. $2.50 2 button. Kalau aku boleh, kalau aku dulu kecil boleh lah beli ice cream Malaysia 1.50 sen kan. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation. But the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow cancelled out any other feelings you might have had about that. Yeah! You could now afford something at the shop. Just one thing, but that was infinitely better than better than Shiloh clapped his hand. Yay! Okay, by the way, siapa yang tak kenal Shiloh ni, aku rasa korang kena back to part 1. Kat part 1 dia ada terangan siapa Shiloh ni. So aku tak nak cakap banyak, korang boleh lah check it out. The two of you dash outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you on to your destination where, breathless but happy, you stare at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't you. It wasn't just you who had contributed the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pulse. Aren't you getting a popsicle? Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. Aku tak tahulah, sebab aku nak popsicle, tapi dalam masa yang sama dia ni pun contribute untuk cari duit tu sama-sama. So nak selfish ke nak kongsi? You try to get something you both wanted anyway. Tak apalah, kita share lah sebab sama-sama kan. It wasn't fair for you to be the only one to decide when he'd been a main factor in the making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. Yes, duit tu duit dia. Sebab aku mula-mula pun aku minta duit dia sebenarnya. So takkan aku nak beli makan seorang-seorang kan. What do you like? All of them, they are so good. Boy, you press further. But what do you really like? Popsicle or ice cream? Which is your favorite? Oh, it's so hard to pick. I don't know. Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. You want me to choose? Yeah. And that was that. You got the dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shiloh would actually like it too. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. Ui, betul weh. Bila kau dapat duit macam tu, and then kau boleh beli es krim dengan duit yang korang cari sendiri tu, aku rasa itu antara kejayaan yang time tu lah budak-budak kan, kejayaan yang paling besar lah aku rasa tu. You suck on the fruity popsicle you bought. The icy treat cooled you down perfectly and the zesty flavor was refreshing. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head. Oh, maksudnya dia beli satu, dia kongsi. Right? You can finish it. Asal suara Shiloh ni macam perempuan, babe? He didn't want any. After everything he did to help get it, that was weird. But you accept the offer. You tried to include Shiloh. You hesitate. Dia tak nak kan? Dia tak nak, aku habis kan? There was no point arguing. It was already melting under the rays of the sweltering summer sun. You eagerly tucked back in. The cool, sugary treat quenched you in ways that the water just couldn't reach. The two of you began to head back home as you ate. You were glad to get the treat all to yourself. Only half wouldn't have been nearly as good. Even so, you couldn't help but wonder what Shiloh was thinking. You walk side by side on the shore in silence, but your thought keep drifting to the boy beside you. Kenapa kau nak rasa bersalah weh? Dia cakap habiskan, so aku sebagai budak habiskan, so aku habiskan lah. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt or was too afraid to. You figured that was his problem and didn't care. Are you scared of me? You thought that was kind of sad. Are we friends? Aku rasa mungkin dia rasa sedih lah, sebab tu dia tak bercakap. Not being able to talk to people isn't fun. And you didn't want to be the kind of person people were scared to tell their honest opinion. You considered asking Shiloh about it, but if he couldn't give an opinion on something like ice cream, then he wasn't going to open up about this. You hope for the best. Maybe you were wrong, or if you were right, maybe he'd feel better about it soon. Alah, budak-budak, nanti dia lupa lah tu. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good time and there had been confusing ones. You were positive on one thing, at least. The treat was delicious and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spot two very familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You open your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. You walk straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you took a moment to make a joke, accused of asyik nak tuduh Lizzie je kan. Dah lah, hari tu Lizzie ni aku kantoi kan dia kan, sampai dia kena call bapak Kof ni untuk minta maaf. Dan aku rasa momen ni aku tak boleh nak buat lawak, aku tak boleh nak ni. So aku rasa aku tanya elok-elok lah apa yang jadi sebenarnya. Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking with the witnesses. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Kof aid. You wanted to hear the story. Kof, what happened? Jamie, I got yelled at. He took a deep, steadying breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Okay. Oh, sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year the same mean old couple rented out the condo for the summer. You, Lizzie and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Kof couldn't have. Oh, okay. They are like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them. But the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. Mungkin budak-budak, mungkin orang tua tak suka budak-budak kot. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do? No, I'm just gonna stay away. Or you could teach them a lesson. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What? You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'd be great cause they are so slow they'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again. You are saying that cause you are cluck chicken. Cough glad but didn't take a bait. Lizzie turned to you. Tak function lah Cough ni. Dia tak pandai nak melawak tau. Dia macam tak tahu lah, dia asyik bad mood dia. Kalau aku ada member yang betul-betul macam ni in real life, aku mungkin akan try to cheer dia mula-mula. Tapi bila dah selalu sangat macam ni, aku rasa macam nantak kau lah. You are not a chicken, are you? Yeah, clock. She can teach you about being a chicken if you are in fact a chicken. Hunch over, you folded your arms to form wing and bat them up and down. So macam aku cakap, aku jenis yang kalau aku dah try cheer up tapi kau still macam tu juga, kau siap lah kena bahan. Bak cow. For once your sister seemed at a loss, but it didn't take too long for her to regain her usual confidence. So you admit it. You continue to flap your arms wing as you circle your sister clucking all the while. There's no shame in the chicken being a chicken. Yeah, you a chicken. Things were not going the way Lizzie expected. She fought against a laugh and looked for a way to restore her serious authority. You and Cove are bold little chicken. Bakau. Tak, dia cakap aku ke Cove ni sebenarnya? Cove hold his arm though. The one with the cast wasn't as tightly tucked down, and you joined you in chipping around. It was hard to cluck through the giggle that rose up when you saw him imitating a chicken, but you still both gave a first-class performance. The door to the old couple condo flung open to reveal one of the culprits behind Cove tears. You froze, wing raised. Can you let anyone have a bit of peace and quiet? Oh, orang tua ni sound baik. He must not be a fan of theatre or farm animal as well as kids. That was the only explanation for his outburst, which was far louder than anything you and Cove had done. Go on, beat it. It was distinctly unfair, but Cove's lip was trembling and you thought it would be best to heed his command. Lizzie took off, with Shiloh immediately trailing after her without as much as glance back in your direction. So much for your friendship. You waved your arm at Cove, summoning him to follow you, and ran after Lizzie. The old man hollers propel you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the egg of your leg. Sorry guys, akunya. Tak apalah. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The four of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin. Hey, Cove. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents around here. Cove rolled his eye, then decided this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. And you still feel really sad after how much today? And aku rasa benda tu biasa je kot. Shiloh could prefer Lizzie as much as she want to. You close your eyes, laid on your side and relax. Sometimes pass with you like that. It felt good to take a real break. You move into your bed with a small smile and look at the darkening sky. The blanket of cloud reminded you of thick throat of curl under on cold, rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. You saw a dolphin, you saw a car, you saw an alpaca, you saw a smiley face, you saw a cloud shape. Aku rasa untuk budak-budak masa aku kecil tu, bila aku tengok awan, yes, kita selalu akan imagine awan tu berbentuk yang macam-macam. So sebab aku tak tengok awan apa yang diorang tengok ni, aku bedal lah alpaca. You saw a fluffy alpaca in the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Can you see the alpaca? Cove joined you in the gazing skyward. It's more like llama. Hey, he chuckled at your reaction. Dah malam guys. All the sunlight faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strand of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surrounding. The ocean visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide. Let's go to the beach. there was no agreement from the other two, Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Kof would never say no to going to the shore. He was child of the sea. You wanted to go there too. You were agree. You were happy to do what the others wanted. Objected. Aku rasa macam masa budak-budak lu, kalau saya seorang ajak pergi sesuatu tempat tu, aku rasa follow je kot. So you eagerly join the others in descending the hill down to the water. You step onto the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastle and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. The four of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water edge. The wave tickled your feet. I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean with shampoo and everything. That would be bad for the fish. I didn't say anyone would eat. Jeez, you don't have to be serious about everything. You are the one who asked that what would happen. That is what would happen. It hurt the fishes. Oh, I like bubble baths at home. They are a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious. You never heard Lizzie use that word before. Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the light off and have candle. I'm gonna do that next time. Apa lah mak dia buat kan? Tutup lampu, ada lilin. Woo. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while, she's busy. What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does. Don't you know you are not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about? You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by a wave. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Jamie. I don't have a dad. But I don't have two moms. I just have one. She is really great. Oh, sorry. I only have one now. Two. My mom isn't there. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just my dad with me. Oh, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad to your mom is gone. Kof nodded. You talk about your mom. Even if they're really different, our parents are good and they're good. You didn't say anything. So aku pun, sebab dia pun tak ada cerita kan, sebab bapa karakter aku dengan si Lizzie ni semua siapa. Cuma kita orang berkongsi mak, dan Lizzie ni aku rasa step sister aku lah dalam ni. Okay, so ini melampau lah kalau tanya aku. So aku jadi budak baik sikit lah. Yeah. Kof couldn't muster a response. You don't think he truly disagreed, though? The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sodden sand splattered against your leg. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Kof joined in, striking the incoming wave to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Kof's spray zone with a grin. You made a run for it. You made a run for it. You were already to the tea and wet for comfort. Nothing that happened there would feel as good as getting dry. You got out of the water before anyone could catch you again. Perching on a rock, you scraped the wet sand from your leg as you watched the others. The sand came away in thick chunks at first, like clay, but where it had been thinner, it had already dry and clung to your skin. Bagi aku lah kan, game ni dia macam terlampau detail sangat tau. Cerita whatever happen yang antara diorang ni, diorang macam detail sangat. Sampai kan benda-benda macam ni pun dia nak cerita, yang membuatkan aku rasa game ni delay lah. Kof and Lizzie were relentless, while Shiloh must just dodge. Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first onto the ground. That would have been bad enough without the waves that followed, cascading over his prone body. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head, 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 shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered to his head and his soaking clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it. Tu budak ni basah teruk lah ni. That was crazy, are you okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over. Way to go, Shiloh, you dumbo. Your finger somewhere, you let him. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you drop it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out of Shiloh too. You reached over and took it. Slowly he started to pull in Sam from the ground. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them. Puff! Ah, sorry. What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low, but there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose then pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. He didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Kof laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made off the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as a cool breeze flowed past. Your moms were outside chatting with Kof dads. We're back. Your mom faces fell as they took in the state you all were in, ranging from messy to soaked. No. Elizabeth, is that all that you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you. Mak dia pandai buat lawak, bhai. They certainly did. What Marigold going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home, cold and filthy? Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something wrong. Ini common lah, sebab bila kau antara yang tua dalam kalangan, contohlah kawan-kawan kau paling tua, and then bila kau balik, confirm, aku boleh confirm, mesti korang yang kena marah kalau korang paling tua kan. Mr. Holden on the other hand chuckled as he roughed Kof matted hair. You've been out making memories, Bako. I'm glad you had a good time with your friend. Yes, bapak dia ni jenis yang biarkan anak dia dia tak marah lah kalau anak dia balik, as long as ada memories untuk budak tu. Tu bapak dia mungkin jenis yang open minded sikit. Kof used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holland's eyes widened when he noticed even Dad had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun. That might be right, kids. What can you do? Come on, Kof, let's go get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset. Kof winced at the thought. Okay. Ini okey lah dia tulis K-A-Y. Kalau WhatsApp K saja, lagi sakit hati. Tata boy. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Kof up off the ground and ultimately holding Kof against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Kof onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Kof protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Take care.
Good night, Kof. Thank you for the talk, Cliff. night, Doja family and Shiloh too. Doja family, eh? Well, we better do what we can to fit you guys up too. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom. Yes, ma'am. Okay, Lizzie's ma'am. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight. Sitting on the old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall until you were less sandy. You weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experiencing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't bubble bath as she had hoped. This was no fun allowed clean up session. At least that's what she claimed. Yalah, sebab tadi diorang kata diorang nak mandi balik dah ada bubble tapi tak dapat. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bed was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. Alright guys, itulah momen untuk long day. So bagi aku untuk momen long day ni agak bosan sikit sebab dia macam aku cakap dia terlampau detail sangat cerita apa yang terjadi kat dorang dekat pantai tu. Ya, aku faham diorang nak cerita yang diorang buat ada momen dekat pantai, tapi tak perlulah detail sangat sampai pasir kat kaki, delap. Benda tu aku rasa tak payah. Maybe dia boleh menarikkan sikit jalan cerita dia lah. Okay, alright, tak apa. Kita go further to the Sandcastle. Dan aku harap cerita untuk Sandcastle punya moment ni menarik sikit lah daripada long day ni. Alright. Kof wasn't able to do many things that summer. When you, him and Shiloh set out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon, not with his cast. The wave washed a single shell to show, glittering and blue, another reminder of the places he couldn't go. From what you'd heard about Cove all life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. Even cut it off himself if he could. You thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here with you and Shiloh and Lizzie and everyone else. But he couldn't even go in the sea. This town wasn't bad. It had all your favorite things in it. But sitting there on the same beach you grown up on, you could understand that not everybody else felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly, and he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in. The water? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, you're gonna be able to do it soon. Cough only sighed and respond. Apparently soon wasn't soon enough. So it's pretty it's so pretty, the ocean. And huge. There could be anything out there like mermaids. Yeah. Mana lah guys, aku rasa mermaids aren't real. I'm fine here on land, so it might be fun if we could. I don't really care. I wish you didn't have cars. Me too. So nampak aku macam support dia sikit. So dia pun macam setuju dengan aku, nampak. Sebab aku tu dalam masa yang sama aku annoying dengan benda ni, dengan dia, dengan si Kov ni. Tapi dalam masa yang sama aku nak ambil hati dia juga. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input in the situation. Kov turn back to water. Kau nampak tak? Kau cuba yang terbaik tau untuk pujuk dia, untuk ambil hati dia. Tapi dia jenis yang geram je aku. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh slow. Careful movement caught his eyes. Hey, are you building a sandcastle? Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening. Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before. It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away. Well, how do you do it then? Sekejap guys Alright. Shiloh cheeks lit up. You couldn't tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Kov expectant stare on him. I'll play too. I love making sand stuff. I never really make one before. There's nothing else to do. I love making sand stuff. Sebab aku pernah cakap yang aku suka main Sandcastle. Okay. He put his hand back to his seashell and sand and nodded. I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started. Shiloh, focusing more intently than you ever seen him, guided Kov through his process. You happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have humble structures prepared. That's all kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashell, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas. Okay. I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine is gonna be real castle. Cool. This is gonna be a house. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to make a mansion lah, babe. Kau castle, aku punya mansion. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to do what Lizzie would do and design a mansion. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else as he usually did. You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up from what you built. It seemed you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decoration. Shiloh had grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Kov had a lot of the shells, but there was still option. The first thing you reached for was aku rasa seashell lah, sebab seashell tu bila kita letak dekat mansion tu dia akan jadi cantik. So seashell, it was the best fit for your mansion, you decided. The blue color of it still reminded you of the clear water, so you displayed it front on and center, making it headlining features of your whole thing. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Kov and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. Malah nak tengok. You instead watching some clothes go by. The silence was broken. What's on the top of yours, Shiloh? You peeked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney. Ooh, ada chimney. Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke. Neat. It's good. That's smart. Tak nak lah macam nak puji-puji sangat. Aku nak jadi budak jahat sikit lah. Kerana look macam ulat lah. A slimy worm. Sticking his tongue out of disgust. Sticking his tongue out in disgust. Kov face sour. Gross. Shiloh frowned without a word. And that was that for the current topic. Jamie, can I see what you did? Sure. He began surveying your work. All you really knew about mansion was they were supposed to be big, so you gone really big. It was the size of the country club that Lizzie played golf at, compared to Kov and Shiloh's building, probably even bigger. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation. Hey Jamie, what did you do? is a mansion. Cove scowled for a moment. Apparently, the anger was actually still there after his agreement with Lizzie more than a week ago. It looks great. Your house is so big. It's not a big house. It's a mansion. I guess mansion are just a big house. It's not a big house. It's a mansion. Come on. Is being a house bad? No, but we each made our own place. Nobody is the same. I think we are. Cove raised an eyebrow at that. If something is the only one of that thing that make it special. Yeah, for Sandcastle and stuff. People too. My dad always say how everybody is their own man, a real individual. I don't think I'm very special. Why not? Nobody else is you. Shiloh simply shook his head. I'm not different. A bit passed between the two. Kof then looked down at his own work again. Okay. He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Kof had other things on his mind. My dad tried to get me to make Sandcastle the first time we came to this beach. I didn't want to. Kof trailed off again. There was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Kof spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad's, Jamie? You cocked your head, thinking about it briefly. I wasn't there, they didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent act like him, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you talk about it, it made a lot of sense that Kof that talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thought that when Kof continued. Oh well, I was there. I don't think my mom has met your dad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he hasn't. Jamie's parents and my dad met the same day I met him. I'm gonna say what happened. Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His head cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell he was upset at not being included in Kove's choice of topic. That was kind of boring for him, though giving people their own turn to say the things they want is important too. Aku backup si Shiloh ni lah. Shiloh ni nampak muka sememi. We were talking just now. Right now I'm talking to you. He can listen. Shiloh's expression barely flickered at the word. He still looked put off. Poyo sial Kof ni. Kof continued like the interruption hadn't happened. He was determined to tell the tale. When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us. Only some stuff that would fit in that car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat in there while Dad brought it all inside. I didn't want to get out because I knew that would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that. His lip twisted into a frown as he recalled that. Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand, then went over to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said, I couldn't hear it, but he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there, the ones where we met for the first time. Kof nodded, then stared at you. You stepped back. He didn't go on to say anything more. What? That's all you wanted to say? Sampai kau palau kan si Shiloh ni? Kof bro wrinkled, like he didn't understand why you were surprised.
Huh?
That's all happened. So kenapa kau nak bagi tahu cerita yang benda tak ada apa-apa sampai kau palau kan si Shiloh ni? There was no point, but that was how our parents met. It didn't make the story up. I didn't make the story up. That's not really my point. Kof just was not understanding the issue here. Shiloh mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing. Why you bring that up anyway? There was a slight shrug of Co's shoulder. I was thinking about it because of the sandcastle. It made me remember when I moved here. Dad showed me the beach first before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason. Cough brows furrowed a little more as he quietly raked his hand through the sand. I get it. You thought maybe Mr. Hodder wasn't that excited about the beach and was instead hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation had come to its end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped into his head. Shiloh, fidgeting uncomfortably in the sand, had made Cove aware of this presence again. They looked at each other and you could only wonder what this might be about. Hey Shiloh, yeah. Why are you always turning so red even when nothing has happened? Clearly started, he jerked back. Neither you or Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again. I don't know, I guess. Okay, it's kind of weird. Shiloh's eyes were wide in embarrassment and his lip twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Weh, Kof ni makin annoying weh. Maybe it wasn't only this. Perhaps it was simply the last straw, but it was a big deal to Shiloh, a huge deal. He didn't just look sad, he seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but you soon got an answer. Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses and nobody is named Cove. Who asked you to come? It was probably just your dad bugging Jamie's family some more cause you don't have anyone else who ever play with you. Cove blinkered. The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to move past. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though you hadn't ever known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh. I'm sorry. Me too. I was just wondering, kalau aku jadi Shiloh ni pun aku marah, babe. Kau dah lah poyo. Lepas tu kau suka-suka hati je nak kutuk orang. Hey, you try to play on your own. So kita tukar topik sikit lah. Sebab aku dah start, untuk moment ni aku start bertambah annoying lah dengan cough ni. The day is gonna be over soon. Jamie, you are right. The sun is going down so fast. You all went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Kof looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. Kau nak budget confused. It's all about you lah, Kof. Come on lah. The air stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's moms appeared at the beach to take him home. At least you tried to do something to resolve it, though it seems like it helped. Even though Shiloh smiled when he said goodbye to Kof whoever, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Kof to head to your own houses. So you lead the way on the path back home. The walk home was quiet. You passed by family landmark, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in the near perfect unison. Kof was clearly caught in thinking about something. You didn't want to leave it hanging in the air, so you decided to ask. Why are you making that face? Oh, I was just wondering. Kof fell silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed. Why Shiloh act like that when I said he was all red a lot? Aku rasa yalah, benda tu tak payah tegur pun kot. Aku rasa bila kau dah nampak sesuatu tu, okay lah guys, kalau kau dah nampak sesuatu yang pelik dekat seseorang tu, dan aku rasa korang tak perlulah nak cakap kat orang tu sebenarnya. Korang just simpan, keep it to yourself lah. Right? So sebab kan dia tanya aku, so aku cakap lah yang kau ni sebenarnya kau hajar. No, I wasn't. It looked like that to me. And it wasn't just saying that one thing, you are not very nice to Shiloh. It didn't mean it like that. Shiloh is kind of weird to talk. See, kau nampak dia punya kau hajar. See, that's kind of rude. Nampak? Aku pun rasa benda yang sama. I guess I can get it why he wouldn't do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Kof mood was still sour. What Shiloh said didn't make sense. Anyway, parents always talk to other parents and set up stuff so their kids play together. My dad didn't do anything weird. You struggle not to make a face at that. His dad definitely did something weird to try and get you to spend time with Kof. Come on away, bapak kau dulu. Bapak kau dulu nak bayar aku, babe. Tapi benda ni aku cakap dalam hati. Bapak kau bayar aku untuk kawan dengan kau. Itu tak pelik ke? Come on lah. But Kof didn't know that. So dia tak tahu. Your dad does the stuff you decide to tell him about. Aku tak nak bagi tahu. Nanti kalau aku bagi tahu lagi bertambah, mungkin akan lagi bertambah annoying aku dengan dia. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Aku just cover up. Kof should relax. You hadn't even noticed that he had tense up. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Okay lah. So inilah yang dipanggil tipu sunat ya. Anyway, I knew the whole time Shiloh shouldn't have been saying things like that. You nodded but you didn't speak. You kept your eyes firmly on the ground. By now, the two of you were on the sidewalk near your house. It was time to part away. Bye, Kof. Your parent hadn't planned anything else for you, though you knew that you'd see him eventually. Kof nodded, already turning away. Bye, Jamie. You made your way to your house at leisurely pace. Going up the driveway to get the front door. Before you went inside, you looked back. Kof was halfway to his house, his hand shoved into his pockets. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Kof dad had offered. Aku rasa aku just stay silent je kot. You didn't want to say something bad or something you shouldn't. Sebab bila aku cakap nanti kan dia ni merajuk. Dia ni dah lah bad moodnya orang. You might change your mind sometimes. There was always tomorrow after all. But for now it was definitely something that you'd keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. Alright. So conclusion for Sandcastle punya moments ni, dia membuatkan aku bertambah annoying dengan si Kof ni. Even though ini game, tapi aku boleh rasa lah. Terus terang, to be honest, aku rasa aku boleh rasa tahap annoyingnya dekat orang-orang yang macam ni. Orang-orang yang jenis bad mood. Dan kau cuba untuk jaga hati dia, tapi bila kau cuba jaga hati dia tu, dia balas cara dia react dengan niat baik kau tu dengan cara yang rude, yang korang hajar. So aku kalau korang yang jenis orang yang macam ni, tolong ubah perangai korang dan jangan buat orang more annoying kepada korang. Okay, even though ini game, macam aku cakap, even though ini game, aku boleh rasa annoying dia macam mana. Right. So aku rasa that's all for this part 3. So the next moment Fireflies ni aku akan continue in the next video. So okay, yang DLC ni aku rasa mungkin aku akan consider untuk try. So maybe aku akan download all DLC ni, tapi kita tengok dulu macam mana. Aku rasa that's all for this video, and aku harap akan jumpa korang di video yang akan datang. Dan seperti biasa guys, thank you for support. And pada siapa yang tengok video ni, yang support Doja Gaming, aku ucapkan terima kasih banyak-banyak kepada korang. Korang memang awesome, korang memang supportive. And pada yang belum subscribe, so aku harap korang subscribe, like and share Doja Gaming. So alright, that's all. So kita jumpa dekat next video. Alright, bye bye.